todos y bienvenidos a la hora que lo veas. Yo soy Sophia Angelica y seguimos con Entre Artistas con Sofía. Esta entrevista va a ser en Spanglish hoy, entonces no se preocupen si empiezo a hablar en inglés. Today we have a very special guest here with us today. Through the magical powers of Zoom, director, producer, writer, and casting director Elaine Del Valle. She first garnered critical acclaim with her autobiographical off-Broadway stage play, Brownsville Bred, for which she won the 2011 Ola Award for Excellence in Playwriting and was named Trendsetter at the Multicultural Media Forum. Elaine has a gift for combining humor and emotion. She has won numerous Best Director and Best Short Film Awards. Elaine's short, Me 3.769, has screened in competitions at top-tier festivals and premiered on HBO in 2019. Also, as the owner and operator of Del Valle Casting, Elaine has become the go-to person for up-and-coming diverse talent and rising stars for many high-profile brands, studios, and agencies. In 2019, Miami News Times named her as one of 5 filmmakers to watch. Elaine is the recipient of the Madrina Award, Prime Latino Media 2017, and the Vanguard Award from the Official Latino 2019. Elaine's latest film, Princess Cut, premiered at the Miami Film Festival in 2020 and was selected for the Latinx Directors Showcase at the NALIP, National Association for Independent Producers Media Summit. Directora, productora, escritora, directora de casting, siempre apoyando la comunidad latina en el medio artístico. Elaine Del Valle, what can't you do? Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And it's totally my fault. Es mi culpa que nosotros estamos hablando en inglés porque mi español no es perfecto. Entonces quiero decirte todo lo que quieres saber y mejor para mí es inglés.
Perfecto. So first of all, what inspired you to become a filmmaker and simply getting into the arts in the first place?
Well, I began my career as an actress. And what inspired me to become a filmmaker, first, I consider all actors are filmmakers. We're all collaborators in the art of filmmaking. And but what really started me behind the scenes was my frustration at the lack of roles that really spoke authentically to my experience as an urban Latina growing up in New York, a Puerto Rican, in a predominantly African-American neighborhood. So I started writing, and I didn't know what would come of my writing, but I'm so proud that the first thing that I created was an award-winning one-woman show, one-woman play that ended up off-Broadway. And it really taught me that the specifics that I had to offer in the genre as to an authentic Latina voice out there. It really taught me that not just Latinos were hungry for that content, everyone was. And so I continued my career from there. And, you know, once you love one thing about filmmaking, and then you get to know more and more and more, and all of those pieces that put together, for me, ended up going from writer to producer because I wanted to produce my content, going to director because no one else would direct it, and then falling in love with directing and understanding that at times when I'm a producer, it's great, but as a director, I really got to understand that there is where I'm really able to put my full vision onto the screen. So my passion continues to grow for filmmaking. I do love the writing, directing, producing, but definitely the writing and directing is something that I enjoy more than anything else. And I still love acting, you know, but at the end of the day, when you're hired as an actress to go and do someone else's work, and you're like, okay, after you've done all the other stuff, this is not enough for me. I still love it, but it's just not enough for me. So that's where I am in my career now. And then the casting came by way of someone wanting to work with me in any regard. You know, what else do you do? He asked, and I said, what do you need? And they said casting, and it's been 11 years now. 11 years now that I have been casting. And I love doing that as well.
And that's a great segue. As a casting director, what can you say to educate actors about the casting process so that they're better prepared when they audition for you?
Well, I would say that times have definitely changed since COVID. I have been a person who has been very techie for a very long time now in my casting. I often told my clients, like, instead of me having people come into the room, why don't we just have them all self-tape? I can see a lot more people that way, and therefore your options will be a lot more than if I just saw everyone in the room. And so I have been doing that for well over 5 years now. And so now with COVID, it's been totally, everyone else needs to do it. So I feel like I've been ahead of the curve. So with that, I would say the thing for most actors to understand is that they have the ability to put together a self-tape. When that is granted to them, make sure that they get a great self-tape in, make sure that it's the one that they want people to see, check the work, hear the work. And at this point in time, between an iPhone and these little mics that you can connect to your iPhone, there's no reason why you cannot produce a pretty high quality self-tape done well, a clear background, nice lighting, make sure they can hear you, make your choices, have a reader behind that camera if it necessitates a reader. So all of those things that really put your best foot forward. It's just like a headshot, right? You want to also represent with a good headshot. You want to keep your resumes updated. You want to keep yourself on those casting platforms. Whether or not you're represented, you can represent yourself. But if you are represented, let the rep do their jobs.
Right. And how do you feel we can make a difference through storytelling and the arts when it comes to diversity and Latino representation? ¿Cómo podemos hacer una diferencia con las artes?
Well, every time I go into making a film, the films that I choose always need to be something that I deeply believe in to the core. Because filmmaking is a very difficult process. It takes a long time. There's a lot of pre-production involved. So for me, every time I go into the film, that film has to represent something that I deeply believe in to the core. And so if that is the case with every artist, then I feel that we're always affecting some sort of opinion through our films, through our art, some sort of belief system. And really, we all have different belief systems. So, everybody has, all filmmakers, at least writers, they have an outlet of expression. That's what I did with my play Brownsville Bred. It was my way of expressing to the acting and casting community and entertainment community, like, you're not seeing me. This is who I am. And it worked, and that's what it is. So if it's a point of view, I feel like it's really great to be pragmatic about it and then present it as a film so that it can unite people as opposed to, all one-sided. So we all have that ability to do it in all of our choices, not just artistically either.
Right. And tell us a little bit about your latest film, tu nueva película, Princess Cut. What inspired that idea?
So actually, that was the first film that I made that I did not write. This was a play that I saw at the Hollywood Fringe Festival by a wonderful writer named Demetra Karaman. I just happened to be in the audience. I knew someone going there, and I didn't expect what I saw, but what I saw was something that was so exciting to me, so funny, so dark, so telling, and it really...
I saw the trailer.
Yeah, it's really about two girls from opposite sides, two women, I should say, from opposite sides of the economic spectrum. And these stories come together in one place. And at the end of it, one of them winds up dead. But they come together, not just in one place physically, but in one place, like they have so much in common. And that was really the fun of Princess Cut for me. Remember what I said about dealing in your core beliefs as a filmmaker? That was something that I felt deep down to my core, is that you can come from here, be very, very wealthy, and come from here and be very, very impoverished or non-educated and educated, all of these things, all of these gaps. But these gaps are just, they are forces, but we have the ability we have so much common ground. We're all human. We all feel, we all love, we all hurt. We all have disappointment. We all want, we all hope. And so that was for me very exciting about this film. And yes, it is also definitely female centric, and it's definitely exciting. You know, there's like a run scene and a chase scene and a kill scene and all of those things that I felt as a female director, I probably would not be hired to do that stuff. So let me give myself permission to do it. And it took me 3 years to get the rights to make that film, to make that stage play into the film that I envisioned. And I'm so proud of it. It's actually going to be on at the official Latino Film Festival next. It's been at Urban World. It's been at the Miami Film Festival. It was, like you said, the official selection of the Director's Showcase at NALIP this year, and now it's going to official Latino. So I'm so proud of it, despite, you know, all this stuff with COVID. The film is really doing beautifully. And I have to say one more thing about it. I was given the advice by the American Film Institute Directors Women's Workshop, which I almost got into, but I did not get in. And I said to them, please, can I have your reading list? And they gave it to me. And then I said, what else advice do you have to give me? And they said to me a couple of things. One, always work with different cinematographers, collaborate with others so that you grow. The other thing that they said to me was, we feel that you want to direct your projects only. And then I thought, well, I'm sorry that I learned that that is what I was projecting when that wasn't in the least what I was feeling. I just want to direct. And at this point in my career, if I'm choosing what I direct, I'm choosing what I direct, and it has to be important to me. So at that time, when I was, you know, talking with them, yes, it was my idea that I gave them. It wasn't the idea of Princess Cut. I didn't have it at the time. But this was also proving to others, to them and to others, that I just want to direct. And it doesn't matter whose story I'm telling. And in this case, it was the story of two Caucasian women, which is another big hurdle for Latinx directors, is that, you know, every time people come to us with an opportunity, it's always one that is Latinx, which is great, it's wonderful, but those opportunities don't come along as often as other opportunities. And so I just want to be considered like every other director in that sense, like I can do this as well. So for me, doing someone else's project, you know, having my perspective on it as just a female, yes, I'm Latinx. There's nothing that's going to take that away from me, just the way I'm a female. But just putting my spin on this story, for me, it just meant so much. And my next film is something that I wrote, you know, again, because I've already said to the world, I can do other people's writing as well. Now I'm ready to say, and now this is what I want to do next. So my next film is going to be Brownsville Bred.
Right, and we're about to get into that. I, for one, am really excited to see where Brownsville Bred goes, and also to see the full film of Princess Cut. So I know your book, Brownsville Bred, adapted from a stage play, has won several prestigious awards and was critically acclaimed by the New York Post, among many other media outlets. For those who don't know, there's the book. Talk to us about the story and what it was like writing a story based off of your life.
So Brownsville Bred is now a book, but it also started, it was the stage play.
Right.
So it was my true coming of age, coming out of Brownsville, Brooklyn, a mostly African-American ghetto in New York, living in the welfare projects, and the story about my family. And really a girl's coming of age, her ability to let go of her father in a healthy way. So, you know, writing the story and performing it on stage was one thing. And then putting it in novel form, writing it in prose was a whole other thing. And it definitely needed some other things that the play did not have. And I really just wanted to have the book available. I mean, I wish that I had this book when I was that age, when I was 10, 11, 9, it would have helped me to know that other people like me exist out there. And also to just enlighten people as to the experience. And so I really am very proud of the book. And while the play was something and the book is something, and they both definitely have the same arc, the movie is something else as well, also with the same arc, but a very different story in that, you know, you have to take dramatic license sometimes to really give what a film needs. And I learned so much of that through the help of the Sundance Institute and all of the writing labs that, and director's lab and the writer's lab that I have been so blessed to be a part of. I really learned from exceptionally great and experienced directors and writers as to give myself permission, because it is the emotional truth that is far much more the thing that we have to follow than the actual truth. Kimberly Pierce said that. She did Boys Don't Cry, and one of my favorite films, and the way that it affected me. And she said those words, you know, you have to let go of the truth, follow the action, and go with the emotional truth. So I try to do that in my work, and I think that that has what led me to make the Brownsville Bred film as exciting as I think it's going to be, not just for me, but for especially all the people who have already seen it, but also all the people who have no idea what the story is about.
Right, and tell us a little bit more about the process of creating this new film based off of the play and the book, and any sneak peeks that you can give us.
Well, you know, it has been through several iterations. I mean, I have been trying to write the film for as long as I have been writing the play. So with that, you know, with all these latest learnings in the last couple of years is where I got it to where it's at right now. But what can I tell you, the sneak peeks? There's a lot of breaking the fourth wall, because as it came to me, as I performed it as a one-woman play, there was a lot of breaking the fourth wall. And I originally, when I thought I was going to write it as a film, I started it out as the one woman performing the one woman play. And then like she would go back in her memory. But when I looked at that story, I realized that that really wasn't the best way to tell it. And I thought for a while, you know, should I tell it through the father's perspective, through the mother's perspective? I really, I mean, for years, I thought, okay, it should be this one because it affects this person more, this one, that one. And then at the end of the day, I realized that I wanted to tell a story with a young female protagonist that was, you know, at that age where she was just evolving, those moments of growth. And that's what the play was. And so that's how I took it. So it's really stars a Latinx girl under the age of, you know, pre-pubescent. So she starts off at 9 or 10 years old. And then there's a lot of breaking of the fourth wall. And then we go into her truth and her experiences and how she has to deal with them. And a lot of it, for a lot of it, she actually goes into her own mind. And so there is a cognitive reframing aspect of the story where she needs that space. And creating that space is something that's very new for me as a writer director, creating it visually. So that's something that I'm doing right now with my team. We're looking into CG, motion graphics, photorealistic motion graphics, and creating that space where, you know, it's really going to be amazing. And we already got a grant from the Sundance Institute, as well as another great institution that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say what it is, but it's something that I am so very proud to be a part of. And every time I see a film come out of like this support, it always wows me. So I'm really excited to be a part of that family, which I hope to announce soon on social media. So follow me on social media at Elaine Del Valle Director, and then hopefully you'll be the first to hear of it there.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How do you see the progress of this project, and how have you been able to keep developing your craft in general now with the limitations of COVID-19?
Well, you know, I get asked that a lot. And I have to say, for a writer or casting director that's a real techie, quarantine is like Tuesday. You know, this is something that we are I'm always in front of my computer. I'm always working on something. You know, I run Del Valle Productions and Casting. That's my name in the company. I produce, I write, I direct, I cast. Wherever my attention is needed on at a certain time and in a certain area, that's where it needs to be directed. For this morning, it's going to be, after our interview, it's going to be in casting. At 3 o'clock, I'm going to switch to writing on another project. And then tomorrow I'll devote to the actual storyboarding of the film. So yeah, it's a lot, but I love doing these different things because so many times a writer can get stuck, or, you know, in production, you're feeling a little stagnant, and then it's great to be able to switch off and still fulfill your responsibility toward everything that you have going. So for me, being quarantined it's been great because everyone else is quarantined and now they have time for these Zoom meetings that they normally would not have time for. I don't have to drive somewhere to go to a meeting. I do it right in front of my computer. I don't have to, you know, a lot of time that's wasted getting to those places. So it hasn't bothered me at all. It's actually been good for me personally.
Right. And any advice for an aspiring filmmaker or artist just beginning their careers or even in the middle of their careers?
Yeah, I would definitely say collaborate with the people around you. Instead of trying hard to get to a certain person, forget about them, because those certain people have their core group already. And if you are feeling like you do not, then you need to get with your core group. You need to create one. Like I did writing my play, I created a writers group. And all these actors started writing. So that was a core group, and I felt safe to put my play in front of them, to let them hear my story. I felt safe. And so now I work with a cinematographer and a producer that I've known my producer for over 21 years. We used to intern at the New York Women in Film and Television, where we were, you know, stamping envelopes and licking them closed, or, you know, sealing them closed and sending them out to membership. And that's how I met my producer. So that's when I say core group, it's the person next to you. It's the person in school next to you. It's the person, you know, who you're working with on set next to you. So definitely do that. Start right away. Don't be afraid of your own ideas. Do not try to do what these people need, or you think these people are going to want, or because you think this is a film that's going to play well over here or over there. Don't try to appeal to anyone other than yourself, because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is your own growth, and you'll be able to experience it through something that you will love. And you have to love it, because it takes that much love to drive something to the finish line in production.
Beautiful. Bueno, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros, Elaine Del Valle. Thank you for joining us, and I can't wait to see Brownsville Bread become a film. And if you haven't read the book yet, make sure to get yourself a copy soon. Reading the book before the movie. It will be
on Barnes & Noble, on Amazon. You can also listen to it on Audible, which I narrate myself. So it's very much like the play version in the vernacular, like 301 Sutter Avenue, between Rockaway and Mother Gaston. So that's the voice that you hear that exists in Brownsville Bread, the stage play, and in the book. So I recommend on Audible if you don't love to have a book in your hand. But if you do, definitely get the book, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, anywhere books are sold.
Perfect. Bueno, gracias, Elaine. Hasta la próxima en A la Hora que lo veas. Thank you.
Gracias.